G'day DIY pool legends. Well, today we're going to be talking about how do we clean the pool after it's just been installed. So the first thing is you're definitely not going to use your robot cleaner or your suction cleaner. Otherwise you'll be heading straight to voiding warranty town and buying a new cleaner. Now this is what a typical pool will look like after it's just been installed. There's crusher dust sitting on the side, there's stones in the pool from the installation process, and it's going to be very much the same once the concrete bond beam and everything else goes around it. But when you get hold of and get onto giving it a good clean, you can see just how many stones and everything are sitting in there. What we don't want is to have all of these stones. If we look at the crusher dust here, and these are hard stones, so we don't want to be getting those stones into your pump and into your filter, particularly the impeller on your pump, because it could nick it and just cause a few problems. So how do you go about doing it? Well, let's have a look and figure it out. Well, the first thing, go to your local pool shop, go to Bunnings. These are $5, okay? They're called Skimmer Socks. Basically what they're going to do is go over the top of your skimmer basket, so that way when you're vacuuming up all of the items that are in your pool, then it stops it from getting into your filtration system. Happy days. So to fit a skimmer basket sock to your filter, it's really easy. Grab your skimmer box basket out, and then if you've ever had the pleasure of fitting a hairnet, it's very much the same. So your sock is going to go over the top lip, and because this mesh is a lot finer than what you'd find in your filter and even in a cartridge filter, it's just going to stop a lot of the dirt that otherwise would go straight through this part of the filter here, or this basket, and end up in your filter, which means if you've got a cartridge filter, you're going to have to wash that cartridge filter a couple of times. It puts a real load onto the filter element as well. So by doing this, you save yourself from having to do that. And also if you've got a media filter, then it's going to save you from having to backwash the filter, because it's just so much stuff just gets through here. You'll be amazed when you take this out that how much stuff is actually in there. If you notice when you're cleaning that it's bogging down, your vacuum's bogging down, we'll talk about that in a moment, then just change this, because that will be one of the main reasons. Once you've done that on top, then whack it back into your skimmer box, and then we'll get on to the next stage. All right, so get the pool cleaning show on the road, you're going to need a few bits and bobs. Now, with your kit, you would have got a box, swimming pool handover kit. You're definitely going to need that. You're going to need a few goodies out of that. This is your telescopic pole. We're going to be using that to hang on to the manual vacuum. And then we've also got the suction plate, which isn't in this box. It would have come along with the pool in a separate box. I'll show you how to fit that in a moment. So the goodies that you're going to need is your hose, and your vacuum head. Now it's going to say standard liner vacuum head, liner, fiberglass pools, they're exactly the same vacuum head. So grab those goodies, we'll show you how to set them up. All right, so we've got the goodies. First thing you do is grab your hose. Now you'll notice with your hose, you've got two ends. One's a bit longer than the other. The shorter end goes on to your vacuum head. It's as simple as pushing it over the top, and we're done. Now once we've got this hose filled up with water, this longer piece here is going to go into here. And you can see just sits in there. That's your suction plate. So super easy to do there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our hose and our vacuum head and our telescopic pole, and we've just got these clips here. So it's super easy to fit. That's going to slide down and push that over there. Click, it's locked on. All right, next job, put this on the skimmer box, flood the hose, turn the pump on, we're away. So the next step then is just to grab your suction plate and fit it into your skimmer box basket. Super easy, just put it in, twist it in the direction it says lock, hear the click. Okay, now that can't come out, which stops it from floating up when the pump turns off. The old ones didn't used to have that. That's an absolute win. Okay, what's the next step? So once you've grabbed your pole, let's put the vacuum head down in the water, And then we've got to flood the hose and get the hose full of water, otherwise you're just going to suck air all the way through and then you're not going to get very far. It's a bit of a pain. Okay, so there's the thing for the way to flood your hose is just to feed it down like this. And that will push all the air out. And like wrestling a snake. And with all that air coming out, just creating a little bit of suction, allows the hose to fill with water. Let's give it a little check. A couple of lifts. Yep, it's nice and heavy. There we go. And then straight into our suction plate. We're ready to go cleaning. Now, to make life nice and easy, the reason why these are called telescopic poles is because you can extend this whole section here just by loosening this part here. Which just makes it a lot easier when you're doing your pool because you're not reaching everywhere. You can actually stand on one side of the pool pretty easily. Now, before we turn this on, we need to figure out what we're going to do with the filter. Now, if you've got a media filter or a sand filter like this, then you can turn the handle on the top, which we'll show you in a second, to what's called waste. What that does is any water that gets sucked through the filter, rather than being returned back to the pool, is going to go out the discharge line and completely out of your pool. And the reason why you want to do that is even with the Skimmer Box Socks, you're going to have really fine dirt in your pool. And what you'll find is you'll clean your pool and then you'll come back the next day and you go, why is there a layer of dirt all over the floor of my pool? And that's just the dirt that can't get taken out by your filter. So by sending it to waste, then you're getting it out of the pool straight away. Now, it does mean that you're going to drop your water levels. So sometimes you want to fill up your water levels to the top of your skimmer box. Run your pump on medium speed or low speed if you've got a variable speed pump, because it's going to chuck a fair bit of water out of your pool. So that's how you do it. You just turn it straight to waste. If you've got a cartridge filter and you've got a discharge line, you can do the same thing. If you don't, then you just have to stick with the Skimmer Box Socks and rinse and repeat a few more times. And we're just showing you here that this is the discharge line and that's going straight into the sewer connection, not back to the pool. Okay, so let's get stuck into it. We're going to turn the pump on and we're going to get back to the pool and we're going to start this manual vacuuming process. So first thing is you've got rocks all over the floor of the pool. So you want to be gentle. You're really putting a light amount of pressure onto the vacuum head and you're really letting the suction of the water do its job so you don't scratch up the surface of your pool. Start on the higher points first, so the swim out ledges and the steps and everything else, because it's going to knock dirt down into the bottom of the pool and you're just going to work your way back and forth. So what's going to happen in about 5 seconds is the drone's going to drop a satellite and it's still going to think it's over the middle of the pool, but it's not. It's slowly making its way to the right hand side and you're going to get some nice deep end close-up footage without seeing the rest of the pool. The good news is the process is exactly the same. It's just like vacuuming your home. You're just going to make sure you pick up all the dirt. It's going to be visible, so take your time. Now, if you're finding that the vacuum head's getting stuck to the bottom of the pool because there's so much suction pressure going through it, there's two things that you can do. If you've got a single speed pump, then it just means you've got to turn down how much water is coming out of the hose or getting sucked through the hose. So on that suction plate that you fitted to the skimmer box before, you'll see a thing that's got, looks like a spring loaded little cap, and I'll have some arrows. If you twist it one way, it will increase the water flow. If you twist it the other, it will decrease the water flow. You need to decrease the water flow. If you've got a variable speed pump, then just turn the speed down to low or medium. Now, right there, you can see the head of the vacuum got stuck on the floor. So right on the cusp of being too much suction pressure. If it does get stuck, twist it to the side. Don't try and pull it straight up. You won't win and you may break it. And most important thing here is getting the pool clean. You are going to be pushing a lot of water out of the pool. It's okay. You'll lose more water in a couple of days of evaporation than you will by spending an extra 30 seconds just making sure you get everything out of the pool. So let's have a look at what the skimmer box looks like after you've done your vacuuming, and maybe this is stage one or you've gotten all the way to the end of the pool. Now, if you haven't seen our video about how to take that suction cap off the skimmer box, there's a little latch on there. It's undone many a pool owner, so get a look at that. It's going to save you a fair bit of cursing perhaps. If you're a veteran, no problem, you're going to get that off nice and easy. All right, let's have a look at what the skimmer box looks like and also those skimmer box socks. Now it's absolutely chockers. You can see what's in there, but you can see just how heavy those skimmer box socks are. They're full of dirt and stones and everything else. So if you didn't have those socks on, they'd all be going through into your pump, through your filter, and then out to waste, which you don't want. Now this is actually what it looks like once it's dried out. So you can see just how many stones there are and the different size of stones. How on earth would all of that get into a pool while it's being installed? It just seems to happen no matter how careful people are. It's not the sign of the installer, it's just the way it is. And if something like that went through the impeller, say on your robot, then it's going to destroy your robot impeller potentially, and you're going to void your warranty. The other part that you can have a look at with this is you can see here, just that's all the really fine dirt. It's clumped together, and that's the skimmer box socks has stopped probably about 90% of it, but it's that 10% that does get through that ends up coating the floor of your pool the next day. But you can see how fine it is, and that's why we fit the skimmer box socks. You can see just how much dirt there. That's actually only half the pool on this particular clean, and the pool's not particularly dirty. So what's most important is if you chew through 6 or 7 skimmer box socks to get it done, then that's okay, because if you don't, that dirt there is just going to keep staying in your pool no matter what you do, and it's going to drive you a little bit batty. All right, so we're nearly there. Don't forget about your pool pump though. So 2 things, make sure you turn your media filter back onto filter mode. Don't leave it on waste, because you might come back to a pool that's got a lot of water in it. But the other thing is, don't forget to check the leaf basket or the lint pot here on your actual pool pump. Even though you've got the skimmer box socks on there, you'll be amazed how much stuff actually gets through it, and that's part of your normal weekly maintenance once you're up and running as well, is just to give that a tap out and a clean. Otherwise you start to restrict your water flow. Now once you screw the cover back on, you've got to prime your system again. Now what's happening here is the pump's slowly drawing through more water, and it's got a lot of air in it, because when you take the lid off the pump, if you don't have a non-return valve on it, then all the water depressurizes. Now how you know when your system's back up and running is you'll see all that air getting sucked through at the moment. Once that salt cell's full, so that whole clear plastic thing's filled with water and it's not full of air as it's looking now, you'll hear the note of the pump change, because now it's sucking all water and no air, and you're pretty much good to go. So this is the time now where you start to think about getting the chemicals into your pool and starting to balance your water chemistry, because you've taken out all of the big stuff. If you've got the bond beam going in a few days time after the install, then wait until then. If you've got a couple of weeks until the bond beam's going in, it's definitely worth balancing up the pool, because even when you give it a second clean after the bond beam goes in, you'll lose a bit of water out of it, but not enough to stop you from getting your water chemistry balanced and preventing it going green and everything else. So if you've done your first clean, well done. You're one step closer to getting your pool up and running and going for a swim, and that's how you do it. So thanks so much for watching DIY Pool Legends. We really appreciate it. If you like what you see, please like the channel, tell other people about it, because the more people who see these videos, the more people enjoy their pools, and they're not scratching their heads wondering, how do I do this or how do I do that? Or even worse, having a crack at it and without intending to, damaging maybe their pool or their equipment. See ya.